I was coaching some younger students, and as a gift of gratitude, I was given a large bag of a very delicious artisanal tea. And before that, I didn't expect to enjoy tea. It had always been a secondary experience. For Christmas, we have Christmas tea in Denmark. For daily drinking, we have Earl Grey or a black tea, but it's never something that was really a big thing in my environment growing up.
For many years, my main impression of tea was sencha, the Japanese sencha, and that was it. Those were my limits to tea. But then I lived in Norway for many years, and in Norway there's the music scene is also the tea scene in a way. And there's been a cultural or musical exchanges between China, Hong Kong, those areas, and Scandinavia many years ago, and that resulted in people from the Scandinavian music scene becoming interested in tea and bringing back exciting teas. And I happened to meet some of these people and try some of these teas.
When I started drinking tea, was actually like a health thing. I went into tea because I wanted to find like a healthy component in my life on like a beverage level, you know, like dietary.
This particular tea just unfolded beautifully when I brewed it in my very amateur understanding of tea. And then I decided to learn more about tea, to seek out tea, find people interested in tea, to learn from them, and to experience their recommendations in tea, and to discover make my own preferences in tea, and it's been really wonderful.
I visited a friend who's a composer who had gotten some Liu Bao from the 1970s, and he presented it to me and said, "This tastes like a cellar." And I thought to myself, that's crazy. Why would I drink anything that tastes like a cellar? and I tried it, and the taste itself was just unlike anything I have ever tried in my life until that point. And we drank it in the deepest, darkest Norwegian winter, and the feeling it gave my body and the social situation itself really just calmed me down and did some fantastic stuff for me.
But quite fast I found that it was more a mental thing. So it's actually a mindful experience to brew tea and to steam tea. So it made me figure out that tea was more than drinking the tea in itself. So it became a practice to make tea rituals and practice like Gong Fu Cha. So that became like the miracle factor, actually, going that shift from just a beverage that should support my health into the mindfulness or of the awareness in tea culture.
I think it started somehow with an interest in meditation. I was going through a time in my life where I had a very tough time, and I was struggling with mental health, and I got to know Marcus. He introduced me to the world of tea, and I think there was sort of I'd been sick with stress, and there was sort of a need for. I think I was open to it at that time, and it was very apparent like what it could, how valuable it could be in my life. I think maybe if I'd been introduced to it at another point in my life, it might have been different.
Tea definitely means a lot. It is an experience that has many different layers, and it's something that I can value in different ways consistently.
Being Danish and being a person who lives in Scandinavia, a lot of the possible ways to meet people and to socialize is through alcohol, which for me is a way of distancing yourself from your surroundings. Whereas tea is the opposite for me. It's a way of becoming more focused and becoming more present with your surroundings, and you end up going deeper and deeper into the moment.
It's a practice that's making it easier to sort of exist in a world that's not always helping you stay calm and
it's like an attitude to life. The whole culture and the whole philosophy around tea is a way of finding the spirit and the essence of life.
It's art, basically. I feel like so many aspects of tea are art forms in themselves, and they come together in the tea brewing process. So the individual art forms of the pottery, the craftsmanship that's gone into the pottery, the utensils, the tea, the way it's processed, and the way it's presented. I think it all comes together in one like umbrella art form that is tea drinking.
It's a good way to get grounded again. I think when a lot of us work office jobs and we sit in front of screens all day and we answer emails and we do meetings and we have deadlines and everything is sort of very much disconnected from our senses and our bodies, and everything is kind of abstract, and there's, when you sit down and you focus on tea and you take your time to make that the thing that's important right now, it feels like sort of the antidote to this constant being in your own head. So
I use tea as like a practice for me to engage in small daily rituals and find awareness on something that's simple but still has a wholesome foundation, like on a spiritual level. So for me, tea is like it's like a foundational truth in what I do and how I approach many different areas in my life.
That's it's a difficult question. I think it always changes for me. There's never any common denominator. It changes with the seasons. I think right now, spring is coming. For a long time, I've just been drinking Shengpur, but now I start to feel, some of the more floral oolong teas, like Dansong oolong is.
Currently, I'm enjoying green oolong, and so lightly oxidized, and I'm enjoying some lapsang.
If I had an unlimited amount of money, I would drink pu'er tea all day, every day. Maybe if I get, I don't know, I win the lottery someday, I can drink only aged pu'er from Gushur. That would be amazing. That's I think that's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Like I don't have a favorite tea per se. I try to let the seasons follow the seasons in the way that I steep tea. So each season and each day, in some sense, has an atmosphere and specific tea that kind of accommodate that day. So I try to feel that on a daily basis and find a tea that's suitable for the season and for the day. Because it creates more awareness, and it also means that we don't judge the tea by in a hierarchy. It's not like this is the good ones, this is the bad ones. It's like all teas have a specific spot during a year or during a life. When we go into that space, the tea for harmony, it's something that follows along all the lines of tea. So it goes all the way from the producer, that means the material and the tea production in itself. We try to find a balanced harmony. That means we buy tea from special sources that is environmentally friendly and sustainable, then all the way to the way we approach it with our mind in the tea practice.
Tea is at once a very refreshing but also a very comforting experience. And I feel a lot of tea drinkers appreciate that aspect in particular.
I find that tea is an amazing way to connect with people, and it enhances the meeting between people. Like the chemical stuff in tea makes you more focused and it makes you relaxed, and you end up having conversations that you wouldn't have had without the tea.
I think it's very related to these things with cultivating stillness and trying working on not being judgmental, to sort of allowing things to be what they are.
And a lot of people use it for meditative purposes. Tea can be used to calm the mind. Tea can be used to wake up. Tea can be used to reflect, to dream while you are awake. Having a little personal ritual of enjoying tea, and enjoying it in all the different ways you prepare tea, enjoying the layers of tea, maybe just enjoying a consistent experience in tea, that you know how to reproduce a particular flavor of tea, a particular temperature of tea you enjoy for a particular time of year. And you can always experiment so much and try new things. So it's a really holistic experience to be a tea drinker.
When you're drinking tea alone, but you get a lot of the same dynamics when you're drinking tea with other people, that you might get nervous if you are brewing tea for friends. You want it to be good, and you might it's a great way to cultivate this harmony, to get used to seeing these thoughts for what they are, and your friend doesn't care if your tea becomes a little bit bitter. I mean, they just like the fact that you're brewing tea to them. Probably, right?
And that means we try to find the middle way and the most beneficial way of doing everything. And that interferes with our conventional way of looking at society, I think. So the harmony for tea is taking all the steps of the tea process and finding the best solution. And that also means, like, for us, and the mind that we bring. So it kind of channels through all the layers of tea production, all the way from tea production to tea steeping.